Okay, with Ted Clarke, All Eyes on You is the short film. It's 23 minutes long. It's from the United Kingdom and it's from the Thriller Suspense Festival. Ted, how's it going today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
You wrote the script as well, right?
Yes, I did. I did write a script.
And it's doing well on the festival circuit so far. Are you surprised, happy?
I'm pretty happy with it. It's my first sort of proper attempt at a festival circuit, run. Yeah, it's doing well. It's better than I thought it would as a kind of student, just kind of trying my luck. Yeah, I'm happy.
So was this like a thesis project for your school?
No, it actually wasn't. So it was made during my final year at university. I did film studies, which is kind of 70% theory, and then only a sort of a small portion of it is practical.
Yeah.
But I made that kind of just outside of the course in my own time because I kind of felt that I wanted to get more done with the year, basically. So it was a challenge, but I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Was everybody like part of the film, like part of the school? Like everybody
Um, Sorry. Yeah, I think 90% of the crew was. They were all, my other students on the course.
Yeah.
But the all the cast is pretty much professionals that I've found throughout the country, which hopefully is kind of you can tell from their performances. I
Yeah.
think they really all my previous shorts have all been student actors as well. And I wanted to kind of step it up and see how I could direct, with people with more experience and yeah.
Well, you needed an older couple, right, for the lead. So
Yeah, well they'd actually worked together before in a different short as a couple. Um, so that was quite useful.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird. I don't know. It's a weird question to ask, but it's an interesting symbolism of like when a couple is driving, and then it's like the person who's driving the car kind of tells
Yeah.
a lot about the couple.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's kind of dictating the kind of the way the relationship's working almost. Yeah, the power dynamic's a little different, isn't it?
Yeah, because
Um,
generally, I don't know what your parents or friends, whatever that, but generally the man is driving the car in most relationships.
sure. Yeah. Interestingly, when I started writing it kind of originally I think I started with the kind of maybe stereotype that the man was driving the car. And it only kind of really arose in casting decisions that the guy that I casted couldn't drive. He didn't have his license. So it was purely a kind of practical decision. But I think it actually works quite well with the sort of, as I was saying, the dynamic of the relationship and the kind of strange awkwardness between the characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh, um, the screenplay itself, when did you first write it?
I wrote the first draft in I think August of last year. Um, and then I didn't really have a concrete final version until the winter. So it was quite a long process. It was because it's quite a long short. Um, there was a lot of back and forth on how ambitious I kind of wanted to be with the amount of characters and the amount of scenes. Um, and I'd also, even though it wasn't part of my course, I'd spoken back and forth with my lecturers about, what advice they might have, and they were kind of telling me to cut it down, cut it down, cut it down, which obviously for festivals would be more beneficial as well. But it was ultimately just a big story. I couldn't really.
I assume that it was like a feature. There's like a feature kind of idea in here.
Yeah, it definitely. I think a lot of my shorts tend to be like, or the kind of stories I like to tell feel like they could very much be feature length, and then part of the trick with my shorts is like dialing it down and condensing it. I don't know, I kind of like the challenge of telling as big a story as a feature, but in that short runtime. But yeah, it's a little different. I think it's not really the orthodox method of making shorts.
So you have like the pitch is that this young couple is moving to a peaceful countryside for a fresh start, but then there's like kind of crazy neighbors and then shenanigans take place. That's my paraphrasing of your film.
Sure, yeah, that's a good summary. Yeah.
So when did you kind of come up because like first of all the location's fantastic. So did you know the location when you're writing the script?
Yeah, so the location was actually probably the easiest part. The house itself is my grandparents' house.
Okay, so that's what I assume that. I
Yeah,
don't know. Like it's like
yeah,
you're kind of writing what you know, right?
yeah, and for a no budget, amateur project, that would really be one of the big nails in the coffin if we didn't have that location. So when the whole time I was writing, I knew I'd already spoken to them in advance. I was going to use that house, I was going to use that place, and the whole village around it. I had a kind of innate knowledge of, and I knew exactly where each scene I would, where I'd shoot. Um, Sorry, what was the rest of the question? I'm
No, just
blank.
like writing what you know, and then
Yeah,
in terms of like the setup itself, how did you kind of why did you come up like you know where the idea came from? I'm just curious.
well, I think creepy villages and neighbors is something that's always lingered in the back of my head. A lot of people have kind of labeled it a bit David Lynch-esque, I'm very into those sorts of characters, supporting characters specifically being just super odd and off. And I think basically I was interested in the idea of when you've kind of done something wrong, or if you know that you've made a mistake or something,
Yeah,
feel like the way you perceive people treating you is very different. Um, and that idea of all eyes being on you, like you can be walking down the street, and if you kind of feel like, oh my bad, I've made a mistake, you feel like the energy around you is switching.
yeah,
And that's kind of the angle I was going for.
gotcha. And then okay, so then your grandparents let you shoot in the place. Did you change anything inside, like the art direction or anything?
Yeah, all the kind of I ordered a lot of moth themed stuff off the internet. Some of it is more and some of it is less kind of noticeable in the film, but there's like cushions and jewelry and there's like little kind of pieces of statues and photographs and things that we lit throughout.
Yeah,
But a lot of the kind of benefit of the house being the house that it was meant that the kind of production design, a lot of it was already done. It looks like a lived-in real house and
yeah.
it is, I suppose. Yeah.
So there is a countryside. Like I was watching Peter Rabbit with my kids,
Mm.
and there's like I don't know if you've seen the movie, but it's like a cut. There's like outside of the city. There's like a English countryside, and they live in homes like this. So I guess it
Yeah,
does exist, right?
yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's probably not the sort of countryside that most people would think of. It's slap bang in the middle of the country. It's in the Midlands. And I live in a city, and that house is literally kind of a 25-minute drive away. And suddenly you're in like a big kind of loads of fields and farms and small villages and towns. Yeah, it's
But
cool.
you mentioned like David Lynch, like kind of like the creepy kind of small town people, I guess, right?
Yeah. I think that's something that's always appealed
Then
to me.
the fish out of water person or couple comes into the
Yeah,
town, right?
yeah. It's definitely a trope that I've always followed and been excited by, and it's just like trying to find the reasoning behind it for your own unique story. That's the interesting bit, I suppose. Yeah,
And then you wonder, like, I don't know, I've been in these situations where like you wonder, like, are you the crazy one or are they the
yeah,
crazy one, right?
yeah. Well, I was very interested in this sort of like, without giving anything. Well, how do I even put it without giving
Yeah.
things away? I think the back and forth twists and turns of the audience not knowing, they'll be convinced at various points, okay, it's definitely the villagers who are weird. Oh, wait, maybe the couple, there's something going on with the couple.
Yeah.
Maybe the villagers
Yeah.
aren't weird. And it's back and forth.
Yeah.
And you kind of come to various conclusions and throw everyone off. And
Yeah.
yeah, that
That's
was the ending without giving it away.
yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of in my mind is I need this big thing. And yeah,
You started at
that's,
the end, then you went backwards kind of thing.
yeah.
But that's not easy to do. Like that's what you just described, like kind of like that tone, kind of like what's going on, and you really pull it off. Like I just want to ask you about your direction because you have a lot of close-ups, but then you gotta go have these like kind of like fly in the wall or kind of like POV kind of shots,
Mm,
like someone's watching them shots. I'm sure
yeah.
that was intentional.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like voyeuristic, like
Yeah,
rear
yeah,
window sort of ideas going on where I did the shot list, which, maybe in retrospect would like to have collaborated more on with my DOP and whatever, but I was really like the visuals are very much something I'm interested in getting right and half of the film, yeah, are the more traditional close-ups, this angle, that angle, weird, because the relationship is such a central dynamic.
yeah.
A lot of the shots may seem similar, so I had to find a lot of diversity in those, through the window, through through a different room into the kitchen or into the living room. And that was interesting to me because it adds another layer of, you sometimes we can see obviously there's some villagers being creepy and watching, but then sometimes it's almost like we are those kind of spectators as the audience. We're kind of in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So where did you find your two actors anyways? The two main actors.
So I found Laura quite a lot quicker than Callum. Laura, so I basically started as doing Facebook casting calls, so joining a bunch of Facebook groups.
Okay.
Um, the UK, I don't know about the US, but the UK has a lot of like quite big acting workshop and like training groups where you can put in casting calls and they're kind of received well. I think in some places a bit taboo to kind of just drop a post like that, especially if it's like a low budget project or a no budget project even.
Yeah.
But the benefit of those things is you get like loads of replies and tapes. And so Laura was actually one of the very first people that taped. And we had a call, and she was great. And she is based in Wales, so she's actually not very close to me. And that was something to consider with arranging for travel and things, but that will work well. And then Callum, as I'd said earlier, they'd actually worked together on a previous short, and I'd been really struggling finding a male lead. Actually, this was the thing. I spent maybe 2 or 3 months, and all the kind of male tapes I just wasn't really feeling. It's a weird character, I think. As you were kind of saying, the dynamic of the relationship isn't this male dominant figure. So it was, I don't know, it was struggling. And then I kind of asked her if she'd worked with anyone, and she pointed me in his direction, and we had a call, and yeah, I got on with him. So there
So
you go.
she liked them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they both were really they had a lot of insight into the script, and they really kind of appreciated the themes and what I was trying to do. And then I liked both their performances as well, and I thought that they were going to be a real treat to have because they both had a lot of experience as well with theater and other shorts, and it was exciting. Yeah.
So have they seen the film?
Oh yeah, they've seen the film. It's not screened at any like festivals nearer to them yet. Otherwise, I'd try and arrange to like meet them
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. That'd be amazing. But I've sent them the film, and they're both excited by it. And I've sent bits over for showreel pieces and such. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so tell me about your crew then, like your cinematographer and I guess they're all student people, people you were friends with at school?
Yeah, so my DOP Ollie actually graduated the year before me from my university. Um, and I'd been like basically a runner on his kind of final year piece. And then we'd worked on a few things back and forth, and I'd sent him my script, and yeah, he'd just done a year abroad in Asia, kind of shooting all sorts of documentaries and things that was quite exciting. And he was very much kind of the most experienced, and um he's just a real asset to have, and I was excited to come and have him. And he did an amazing job. And he's directed a lot of shorts and documentaries, and even he's got a series on Prime actually. So DOPing wasn't necessarily his like um main focus, but I think he really enjoyed it, and he's shot a couple other shorts since, and that's exciting. And then the rest of my crew were pretty much from my actual class and my lectures at the time. And we there was kind of a few of us that were making shorts within a couple of month period, and we'd kind of rotate roles.
Gotcha.
So I would be a producer on one or an AD on the other, and then they'd come and help out on mine. And that was quite a nice,
Yeah.
um,
There's
wholesome thing.
there's like a philosophy like that with like a lot of film schools. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? Because sometimes people are like they're like so into their own film and then it's hard for them to
Yeah.
work on other films, but I guess you
Yeah.
didn't have that problem.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
mine was kind of in the middle. So we did like a
Yeah.
block of three shorts, and there was one before mine and mine in the middle, and then my other friends right at the end, and that one was like right in the middle of our deadlines and things. And that one was like so hectic because everyone was probably a bit burned out from the other two. And I
Sure.
kind it feels a bit selfish, and I've already joked about this before, but like the first one being before mine, at first I was like, oh man, I want to shoot mine, but it kind of is a bit of a blessing because we'd all kind of
Learn
got
from your
into the
mistakes,
zone a
right?
few
Yeah.
weeks prior. Yeah, yeah. And we knew what we were doing, and so we arrived on mine, and the excitement's still there. And yeah, it worked out quite well for me in retrospect, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you hit your peak, right? Like you don't like you like you get all the butterflies out of your stomach, and you get like
Yeah.
kind of get the insecurity and the unknown out of the way, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and you're burned out, like you're overtired, right? Yeah,
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily impact the results or anything because the other two shorts are awesome. But
yeah,
purely the energy on the set and things, I think it just came at a nice time where,
yeah.
yeah, and I didn't feel too scared because I'd just been an assistant director on a previous thing. And so I was like, because before that, I hadn't directed a short in about a year. And so I
Yeah.
think if I jumped straight into mine, I'd have been a bit more tense. And yeah,
Yeah, you learn though too, right? When you work on other projects, right?
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd so we'd booked out from a university like all the equipment that we used on all three for like a month and a half straight. We had access to that equipment. So we're also kind of over the course of the three getting more and more used to each, piece of equipment and role and yeah. So yeah, it's nice.
So tell me about the post-production. Did you edit the film?
Yeah, so I edited probably 70-80% of the film and then I went down to London to do the color grading and then just kind of fine tuning and get a picture lock with my DOP, who was the other editor with me, Ollie, and that was a nice kind of I don't know. It feels tough, especially as a director, assembling all the cuts and kind of groaning at it for a bit is a bit difficult. But then yeah, I went to London, did all the fun parts with the color with my DOP, and that was really nice. And it only took maybe 2.5 months before the short was the post production was finished, and that was yeah, it's fun.
Who did the sound design?
I did the sound design actually.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was probably the toughest part because I thought I'd kind of finished the film, and then I'd already submitted to a couple fests and things, and then I watched it on like one specific TV for like some reason, and suddenly on that TV, the sound design just sounded awful, and I was like, "What's going on?" And like suddenly I couldn't get it out of my head, and I kind of took another lap at it, and I'm quite happy with it now. But yeah, I didn't credit myself with the sound design and the credits. I just kind of editing was the umbrella for me, maybe. But yeah.
So what do you think happened the first time?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it was like my headphones or specific speakers. I think the TV that I was watching it on had quite bad speakers, but at the same time, I think it did kind of illuminate certain errors that I just hadn't detected because I couldn't get them out of my head. Like there was like a toilet flushing in the background of a take, and I was like, where did that come from? Like I've never heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was-
Well, because it's key to your film, right? Because it's kind of has that mystery. I would call it a mystery film in many ways,
yeah.
right? So you got to
Yeah.
figure, they got to like, there's all these kind of like subconscious voices or sounds that are coming that you can kind of manipulate the emotion in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. I think the sound's actually probably one of the strongest pieces of it now. I can look
Yeah.
back on it. But yeah, there was a midpoint where I was scared of it. And the music, the score and everything, I'm really happy with that. I didn't do the score.
So who did
But
the score?
so Thomas Pierce did the score, who I only actually met in person maybe 2 months ago. So long after we'd finished all the film stuff.
Yeah.
But my friend Ollie that I'd mentioned, he'd scored his shorts and other projects. And so I'd got in touch with him a couple years ago for a different short that he did for me. And we just have like a really fun relationship. We'll just hop on a video call and get excited about film stuff every few months. And yeah, yeah, he's good. I enjoy
Was
it with him.
Ollie also like, he was also in the film as well? Was he
Yes,
acting in the
yes,
film?
yes. So he's Jack. I don't know how much I can say about crazy spoilers or, but he's
Yeah.
third act flashback character. Um, and that was a really last minute decision actually, because I'd kind of written that in the script and I just never kind of got around to casting the character. There was one guy that I'd been back and forth with for a while, and then he kind of pulled out. And I thought maybe I don't need the flashbacks. But then we had like extra time because we actually finished that day's scenes early, and it was like great. And then I was like, well, maybe we should try and do this. And I didn't want to do it. I think I'm a bit too fresh faced looking. And he's a little older than me. So he was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And just fully improvised a kind of quite
That's
fun.
great. And now he landed in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the film, like I said, the film's doing well. You should congratulate yourself for that. It's a really nice tone and pace film. Not these are not easy films to do, and you kind of nailed it. And because everything's got to go right in terms of
Mm,
your lighting and your like we talked about the sound design, of course, the performances, and there's got to be that like the audience has to care about what is happening, I guess, right? Like what's going to
yeah.
happen next.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, there's no action or kind of direct crazy attention, like retention kind of design stuff. It's all in the mystery and weirdness of the setting and the characters. And I think we pulled it off, to be fair. I'm at that stage where I don't love watching it just because it's my work. But I can happily show it to people, without thinking they'll hate it.
So what's next for you? What are you doing now?
Well, so I finished my first degree. I'm currently doing a master's degree, which is only a year, in film production, which is a little more practical. So I kind of hope to direct 2 to 3 more shorts this year, this academic year rather than in the
Yeah,
next month. Um, and basically, we'll see how the festival circuit goes for this and those. And I want to make shorter things is my other. I've written a script at the moment that's only kind of 5 pages long.
yeah,
Because one thing I have learned, even though I'm happy with the festival kind of reception for this, is that obviously the shorter the better.
yeah,
If I can make something really fun and short and concise, that will hopefully be received well. And then once I've graduated from this second degree, I kind of want to, because at that point I'll be a bit more on my own, and I've made quite a few shorts at that point. I want to start thinking about gravitating towards a feature, basically, because I'll be putting my own resources into it at that point. I don't have access to the equipment or the crew as easily as I do currently. So if
yeah.
I've got to spend money, I'd rather spend it on something a bit more commercially viable, and a feature. Yeah.
Great. Well, I wish you the best of luck. You're great at this genre right here, and make sure you keep making movies,
Oh,
which I
thank you
guess
very
you are.
much. Oh, I appreciate you talking to me. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. All right, let's talk again when you make your next film.
Excellent. That sounds good.